by FICCI for her far-sighted vision, exemplary work, and notable contributions to the fields of healthcare and social science. She was conferred the ABLF Award for Business Courage by the Asian Business Leaders Forum, and she is also a recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award for Distinguished Service in the field of social science, conferred by the Loyola Forum for Historical Research. Last but certainly not least, Dr.Preetha Reddy was conferred the degree of Doctor of Science by the Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University in recognition of her outstanding work in the field of healthcare.
I want to just quickly draw your attention to one slide that Rinku's presentation had. It was Dr. Muhammad Yunus who said, "There is no going back. Prepare for a new future." So I would like to ask you, and please feel free to, I would love for this to be really about your journey, and if I butt in at times, please excuse me, but otherwise, we'd love for you to share with us, and then we can make it a little conversation, and I will be, Divya will be sending me some questions that Zoom viewers may be having, so at some point, if we can just take a few questions from the audience, or I hope that flow is okay with you?
Yeah, whichever way you want.
Thank you. So I'd like to ask you, clearly your leadership in this unprecedented crisis has been something that the world has recognized, business leaders have recognized. You are at a unique junction as a corporate leader, as a woman leader, as an example to so many people in this country and in the health space. And from your viewpoint, what is leadership going to mean in the coming years? Is it truly never going to be the same again? What changes do you think we're going to make in the way we act, we think, we go about our daily lives?
So, as Indians specifically, we're quite philosophical. And the Gita talks about being a karma yogi. Can you hear? Am I okay? So, we just do what we have to do because there is a need. And it happened with the Apollo story. My father was in the US, and 4 of us little girls grew up in the US. And he would write in Telugu to his father, my grandfather, saying, I did all this, and I had an institution, and we've done some exciting stuff, so on and so forth. And one fine day, my grandfather wrote to him, and he said, how does it matter to me? Because what will I tell them in my village that my son is in the US and he's doing these things? It doesn't really make a huge difference. And I think that got my dad thinking. So he came back with 1 wife, 4 daughters, 1 car and a washing machine, and moved back to Chennai because Chennai is near Aravanda where we come from. And he started this practice, and he couldn't even afford a secretary. So there was half a secretary because the other doctor gave him the other half. So having said that, it just happened because it was, there was a need, and my grandfather told him, listen, you need to come back, and then this happened. Then there was a patient who died because he could not afford to go to the US for a cardiac surgery, and it was like, we need to do something. And so then the whole Apollo story happened, laws had to be changed, legislation had to be changed, and so the story just kind of grew in a way, but the underlying philosophy and the ethos of it is that you really need to do something about it. And then the 4 of us started working, and honestly we worked because it was hard to see your dad, and we were all good daughters. So we said we were daddy's good little girls, I guess. We keep telling him that, cheap labor, but we worked with him. And we enjoyed every moment. So, sometimes my mother says, you people don't know anything, you don't even talk about the children, it's only about the hospital and work. Because honestly, I don't think we don't do much beyond that ecosystem. So that happened. And again, it was always a need, the pharmacies happened because there was spurious drugs. And how do we give drugs of quality to our people? So then my sister started that chain. Then there was the whole digital enterprise now which we started. So because we know what's changed to a digital world. But in the COVID situation, and I think that was an eye-opener for us, that we realized that there was just so much to be done. There was systems to be brought in, the protocols of treating somebody when there was a crisis. And honestly, when we look at our data, the first 30 days, outcomes were not that great. Next 60 days, it got better. 90 days, so much better. So, we were monitoring data in such a way, and we knew that at the right time, right intervention, literally the cocktail of drugs made a difference. So I think every time somebody does something because there's a crime need in society, you come up, you intervene at the right time. So, there's a song about saying, what I do it all for you. And I think that's probably the philosophy of most people, and it's not just me, I think it's everyone here, that you do it because there's a need, you do it because you really feel you have to do it. And to me, I think that's really
the right thing.
Yeah, that just goes back to our Indian philosophy of there is a law of karma, you do what you have to do. The fruit of it will happen. I think everyone is successful. If you go to bed feeling like, I've done something, it's successful. And I want to ask you all a question since we're all here together. And this is how, I think COVID has changed people's thinking. How many of you in this audience would love to be powerful? Can you raise your hands? I mean, you can. It's not that you can't. So how many would love to be powerful? And how many would love to be beautiful? And how many of you would like to be rich? But then there's no equation for rich, right? You don't know what that is. That's just a moving target. So there were multiple things, and this was really, you have to think these things through. And it's really about how many of you want to be impactful.
Yes.
So that's probably the answer. In all our lives, you can have all this because literally it's in the mind, it's in the beholder, it's in whatever. And it's all about being impactful. And if you're impactful, it answers all the other asks. And I think this is what has changed during COVID. This is what leadership in COVID is about. And if you really look at it, it's like, how do you make a difference? How do you make an impact? So it's all about being impactful. And I think that was my message. And we've learned to do it, and I think the credit goes to my parents.